Yeah, now it works. Okay. Hello and welcome to Introduction to Programming, or in German, Einführung in die strukturierte Programmierung. Most of the time you will just say ESP. So my name is David and I'm not alone here, I'm together with my colleagues. So I would say we just want to start with us and introduce ourselves. So as I said, my name is David. You might have seen me in the Design Your Own App lecture already, and together with Sebastian.
Hi everyone, my name is Sebastian. I'm a PhD student, and this is also my first time this year as a part of the course team in the Introduction to Structured Programming course, and I'm really excited to go on the ESP journey together with you, with the course team.
Yeah, I'm also in my PhD. So we are working together, and we have also our practical team here. But before we let you introduce yourself, can we have just a short few answers in the chat if you can hear us well? Sometimes we have problems with the audio, so please just write if the audio works. Yes, great. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is us. We are the course lecturer team, and we also have a practical streaming team here.
Yes, my name is Julia. I'm a master student, also for computer science.
And I'm Michi. I'm also studying computer science in the master, and additionally study math. And we too will do the practical streams here, and we have a third team member here of the practicals team, which is Lena, which is responsible for the assignments. But what is an assignment? We will come later to that. And we're not only 5 then which do this course. We are more than 20 people because we have many further student assistants which will be responsible for grading you, helping you through the course.
Yes. And so, as we are also students, so we are PhD students, you are, I think, in the end of your bachelor, master, somewhere around, yeah, I know it, of course. You can say do to us, yeah, so please call us in our first name. You can call David to me, and yeah, so it's usual at the technical university that you can say do to everyone, except for some professors, of course, but at least for us, it's fine to say, to call us at our first name. All right, let's start with some general information about the course. So we have built one huge knowledge base, where what we call the course website, and this is reachable at coding.thugraz.at. And here you can find all the relevant information, all the links, all the videos, all the slides, regarding this course in this semester. Currently there is already a lot in there, so I think you did a great job, Michi, and restructure all of that. Thank you so much. We will add continuously the new videos, the new presentations, and the slides to this course website. So I would recommend to bookmark this, because you will spend a lot of time on this or browse very often to this website. In addition, we would highly recommend you to use and to join our Discord server. The QR code also works, so you can scan the QR code, and this redirects you directly to our Discord server. And yeah, why do we need a Discord server? There is, of course, a lot of information also there. So we write announcements there. We remember you sometimes, like for a assignment deadline, or you have to do this in the next few days. So this is kind of a reminder for you. But also a very important part is that you can ask us questions about your code, about your problems, whatever. So this is like the main interaction system where you can ask us questions and interact with us.
Yeah, you already mentioned questions. If you have now any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. But of course, we will explain many things now in the next hour. So it's very likely that your question will be answered in the next hour. So if something is unclear, you can ask, but most of it will hopefully be answered in the next hour.
Yeah, and we also have the questions here, so we try to answer also the questions sometimes from the chat. But I think currently there are over 300 people, so sometimes we might not see all of them. But if you have questions, you can also ask on Discord afterwards. And yeah, the third component of this, of our information system, is the Teach Center, and we use the Teach Center for registration, for the homework, for the coding sessions, and so on. What exactly this is, so what are the assignments, what are homeworks, and what are coding sessions, we will come to that and explain it in the next an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, and as Michi previously mentioned, so we are more than 20 people in the whole course team, so in the lecture and practicals team. So David and me are the course lecturers, so we are responsible for the lectures, and we have in total 19 teaching assistants, so that's quite a huge number. And we need it because we have more than 700 students. And yeah, that's a lot of coordination, and for that we have some rules that we've defined in the past. Please stick to these rules as much as possible. So the first rule is please ask on Discord. If it's not a personal question, so if it's, for example, related to assignments or related to the exam, please ask on Discord. We also provide the possibility to ask at the lecture and at the practical. So you can always ask in the chat if we have a lecture in the lecture hall or a practical in the lecture hall. You can come to us, ask us, we can talk about any questions you have. We also provide personal question hours, so you can book a slot for a personal question hour, go to the personal question hour, ask there, discuss with the teaching assistants responsible for that, and you can also ask your tutor. You get assigned, or you can choose a teaching assistant soon, and you can always ask your tutor regarding any technical problems, coding problems you might have. But if you have any personal concerns, please write us an email to coding@diograz.at. So if you have a personal concern, please don't use Discord or something else. Please write us an email to this email address.
Yes, one small thing, you will get assigned to a tutor and to a group, so we will do that for you. All right. I also saw one comment in the chat. What's regarding the exam on the 3rd of on the 30th of October? Yeah, we will come to that also in a few slides. So the lectures and the practicals in general in October will be here on YouTube. So they will be live. Hope you will join us, and they will also be recorded, so you can also rewatch it whenever you want. In November and December, we will move to the lecture hall P1. This is the largest lecture hall at the university, but we will also record it and provide you afterwards on the Tube. So the Tube is the TU Graz version of YouTube, where you can always stream all the lectures. And we will also upload it to this YouTube channel here. So when you stick to this YouTube channel, you will get all the information and all the recordings and also the live streams in October. Very important, you don't have to be here. Of course, obviously we are in a live stream, so we cannot check who is currently watching. And if you would watch, we don't know what you do otherwise, or what you do beside watching us. So there is no compulsory attendance. You don't have to be here, but we would highly recommend it because we know it from past and from previous years. When you miss 1 or 2 lectures, then you say, okay, I will rewatch it again, but you will get into troubles, let's say maybe in November after a few lectures, because you are late and you have to rewatch 4 or 3 lectures. So I would not recommend doing that. I would highly recommend watch live as much as possible, or go to the lectures live. And if sometimes it doesn't work, okay, but please rewatch the recordings in the next few days. So otherwise, it's very hard to follow the course. The practicals are usually first days from starting now, like 15:15 to 16:30, and the lecture is after a short break of about 15 minutes from 16:45 to 18 o'clock. In this case today it's a bit special because the practical is used for our kickoff event, and the real practicals are held next week for the first time. Are there any questions in the chat? Have you spotted something?
It's just the difference between the practicals and the lectures. So in the practicals we do more hands-on coding stuff. So we'll actually code together and show you how to solve problems and how to approach such things that you previously only saw theoretically in the lecture.
Yes, so we are doing the easy part. We are just explaining code, and they are doing the hard part because they are doing live coding and implementing what we are talking about. So hopefully we give you good content so you can work with that. Okay, so what are we going to learn? We spoiled it already a bit, but let's have a short look into that. What we want you to learn is to think like a computer scientist and to think like a computer, basically. So sometimes you will have the experience to see a computer or to see a program or whatever, and you will think about how is it programmed, and most of the time you might have an idea how it is programmed. So you will think, or you will hopefully start to think like a computer, and it's a special way of thinking, but it will take you a few weeks, a few months maybe, but you will see that you will change a bit in your type of thinking.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, David. But it's not only thinking like a computer scientist, it's also about speaking like a computer scientist. So we'll get to know the terminology, how to use which words, and also, being able to explain some problems and also strategies to solve a problem in a computer scientist language. So, as you said, David, we will also solve problems or create strategies to solve a problem. But you might be confused because the course is called Introduction to Structured Programming, so Einführung in die strukturierte Programmierung. Isn't it all about programming? So it's really not all about programming. So you will get to know the programming language C. We'll come to it shortly. But it's really more like understanding concepts and applying the knowledge to solve problems, to find strategies to solve the problem. So that's not only speaking like a computer scientist, but also now continue to write programs. So really to find a solution, apply basic concepts which you learn hopefully through the lecture, and apply these concepts to find your unique strategies to solve a problem. And for that, you can use, for example, a programming language. And in this course, we will particularly focus on C, the programming language C, and you will learn to use advanced concepts and apply advanced concepts in C. And why do we even need C?
So you might have the question, why C? C is a very old language. It was developed in 1972, so it's now 50 years, that's a lot, and it might be not the newest and the modernest language. So why do we have to learn this, and why not another language? C is still one of the most used languages, so this is okay, fair enough. It's from March this year, but it was the second most used language in projects, and C is used in many software currently. C is mostly used for operating systems, Linux and Unix systems. Also parts of Windows are in C and in C++, but also some other languages like Python is built on C, so Python is like written in C. And for example, whenever you are working with a website or web server, it's also most likely written in C. So much software or many software programs are written in C, and that's why it's still very, very important to master C.
Yeah, however, C is just a tool to solve a problem, to apply a strategy and solve the problem. You can use actually a lot of different programming languages. We have some on this slide here. So C++, Python, Java, C#, and many others. And once you understand the concepts you will learn using the C programming language, it will be very easy for you, hopefully, to also learn other languages and apply your knowledge using these languages.
Yeah, so there's actually a quite huge discussion about how and what to start with. And on our perspective, when you start with C, the bridge to other languages is very easy. Yes, of course, starting with C might be harder than starting with Python, but when you can know Python, you have a hard time changing to C. But when you know C, you can very easily switch to other languages. So this is why we want to teach you C. Not that that's not the only reason. You will use C, I think in like every following semester from now on, there is at least one course which needs you to know C. So C is at the university here very present and you need it very often. That's why we will teach you in the first semester, and you will then learn to adapt these concepts in other languages. All right, so this was like a general overview of what you can expect here. And let's start with the organizational stuff of our lecture. The lecture is always the same as Vorlesung in German. So sometimes you will see Vorlesung or WVO. Yeah, so this is always referring to the lecture part. The lecture is, as we say, on first day, so 16:45 to 18 o'clock. As I said, in October here on YouTube, and then in November and December we will move to the lecture hall. Sebastian and myself will holding the lecture, and how you can pass the lecture, maybe the most important question for you, is very easy. You just have to pass the exam. Yeah, so there are a few exam dates already in the TU Graz online. You can choose one of them, and I've also listed it here. So this was also the question in the chat before. We have 3 possibilities each semester, and you only have to pass one, of course. You don't have to register for all of them. Take one that suits you best and register for that, and then come and hopefully pass the exam. If you are new to this course, and especially also new to programming and to C, I would not recommend to take the exam in October. This is mainly for students who didn't use the exam dates in the summer semester or in the last winter semester, or took the course in the previous semester. So I would not recommend doing this exam in October. There are 2 dates suitable for you, which is the 16th of January and the 5th of February, where we would recommend you to take the exam.
Yeah, and in addition, we will most probably also provide an additional stream just for the exam preparation before these 2 dates, so before the 16th of January. We will get through some kind of questions we ask sometimes, problems or questions you have. So we would really recommend, if you're doing ESP for the first time, to choose one of the dates in January or February.
Yeah, and we already have some like FAQ section about exams on our course website. Maybe we can just shortly go to our course website and show you that. So when you go to coding.tugraz.at, you will see this one, And yeah, let's accept that and go to ESP. Now it works hopefully. And this is our main page of the course website. You will see here a welcome text. You will see here some updates where we give you already updates about the assignments maybe, or what you have to do. Here is our course team, a FAQ section, a semester schedule. We will come to that in a few minutes. And we have on the left side here all about the lectures, on the right side all about the practicals. And here in the lecture you can see an exam section where we have general exam information, exam preparation, and so on. So if you want to take the exam, we highly recommend also to browse through these pages here. And okay, so our exam is, you want to add something?
No, please
Okay.
continue.
Our exam offers two options. We have the bring your own device option and the equipped computer room option. So you have to write the exam on the computer and in a safe environment called the Safe Exam Browser. And this Safe Exam Browser unfortunately only works for Windows and Mac. So if you have a Windows or a Mac PC, then everything is good. You can install the Safe Exam Browser and you can come to the lecture hall and write the exam on your own device. If not, so if you're on a Linux device, no worries, we offer you the possibility to write the exam on the Windows devices at the TU Graz, so at the computer rooms, and you can register for this second option. So if you want to register for the exam, you have the option between these two modes and just select the one you prefer. We will then give you detailed instruction a few days before the exam where we say you how to use the Safe Exam Browser, how to install it, and so on. Yeah. Any questions in the chat about the lecture settings?
The only question was whether it's possible to use an IDE during the exam, but this is not the case because we predefine the environment already and you need to use our tools during the exam.
Yeah, you will use online GDP, but more of that I think we will discuss later. And yeah, the grading scheme for the lecture is also very easy, I would say. It's everything less than 50 points or 50% we have. It's the same. Less than 50% is unfortunately nicht genügend, so you fail the course, and then you have this different grades.
Yeah, now my question from before.
Yeah.
So for the lecture, you really only have the exam, and this is independent of the practicals. Is this correct?
Yes. So there are two courses, and you have to register. Hopefully, you also registered for the two courses independently. So you have the lecture, which you only need to pass the exam, no further things, and the practicals, which is a bit more trickier, a bit more to do, maybe. But I will let you explain that. So,
just one additional remark.
Yeah.
You might wonder why we are talking in English, why the course website is in English, and actually everything is in English we do. As a computer scientist, English is actually the language to go. So we daily use English for communication, for programming, actually in every aspect of computer science. But if you have any problems talking in English or doing anything in English, you can of course always use German. You can talk to us in German, you can write in the chat in German, you can write us an email in German, on Discord, wherever you want. So just use the language you're more comfortable with. Both German and English works.
Yeah, we are also not native English speakers, of course. You might notice that, but as you said, it's in computer science everything is in English. So we also decided to teach in English, and it's a good practice also for us and for you, because most of the communication in your professional life will be most likely in English.
And there was also a question about why the homework doesn't count. The thing we talked about before was just the lecture, so everything you heard up until now, and the lecture is just passed by the exam you take. And now we'll talk about the practicals, which is completely separate, and there you'll have to do multiple things in order to gain points and do practicals.
Yeah. So the only, as the quote says here, the only way to learn a programming language is writing programs in it. Just having us talking about talking about C and talking about programming is nice, but you not really learn programming by just watching other people programming. And this is why Dennis Ritchie said that. By the way, it's one of the founders of C, so he knows what he's talking about.
And for that reason, it's really recommended that you take both courses at the same time and not only attend the lecture, because then you will not code, not program, and probably you will lack experience for the exam then. So you really need to practice coding.
Also, we are between the practicals and the lecture always in sync. So what you see in the lecture is the thing we'll do in the practicals, and so you will repeat the learned stuff more often.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, then there's something interesting happening. Our course team are 3 people. So there's also Benedikt Brunner, who is not here today, and he's not responsible for the lecture, but mainly for the practicals. And that is why we now split the students in a very tiny flavor into 2 groups, which have a slightly different focus. And this is all students regarding electrical engineering and the teacher program. But what this really means, we will come to that in a few slides. But he's also here and helps us with the practicals. And that's basically the same again.
Okay, so the practicals will be before the lecture starts, so from 15:15 to 16:30. Also on the YouTube channel, so in the live stream in October, and then in November and December in the lecture hall. Both of us will hold the practicals, so we'll teach you how to code and how to pass. So the practicals, as most practicals are continuous activities throughout the semester, which you have to complete and submit in order to gain points, and then depending on how many points you got, you'll receive a grade.
And there is no exam at the practicals. The exam is only at the lecture, because I've seen this question now again in the chat. The exam is only related to the lecture, and we do not have an exam in the practicals.
Yeah.
But what do we have now in the practicals? We have 2 large building blocks in the practicals. These are the assignments, and you will need to solve 4 assignments during this semester. And you also need to attend 3 coding sessions. And now the next thing is we will discuss what the assignments and the coding sessions will be. We also have here provided the link once you get the slides after this lecture here. And you can go to the link and read through everything in the Notion. Everything is also described there, but we will try to explain it even better than it's written in the Notion now.
Hopefully.
We can continue. How to receive the points? In total, there will be 100 points in the practicals. And as you can see in this slide, the assignments are far more important than the coding sessions. So we have these 4 assignments, and they are between 12 and 40 points that you get for them. In particular, I want to highlight that the assignment 4 has 40 points, so this is a really large part of the course, because you will practice everything that you've learned during the course, this assignment. And this should be like 88 points, and then you have another 12 points for those 3 coding sessions. Each of them rewards you with up to 4 points. And that's everything you need to do for the practicals, no exam.
Okay, so what is an assignment? And I think, so that you can understand it, I'll just demonstrate what you have to do to actually complete an assignment. First, you can watch the kick-off video, which will always be a description of what you have to do in the assignment, and yeah, so maybe it helps you reading the description, the assignment description afterwards, because you already kind of know what to expect. The assignment description and the assignment itself you will find online, and how you get to all of this and how to set this up you will all see next week. Then when you read through the description, you can start implementing your assignment. So you'll write C code, which fulfills everything we specified in the assignment description. And then afterwards, we also provide some test cases to test your solution, which will tell you, okay, did you implement it like we described, or are there some differences with what you implemented? And then if there are some differences, you can of course return to reading and implementing your assignment. But if everything is fine, then you can finally submit your assignment. More details on that next week. And then afterward, that's very important, you have to register and attend an assignment interview where you talk with a tutor about the code you wrote. And yeah, you have to attend this, because otherwise you won't get any points for the assignment. So the assignment interview is very important. Okay, so to sum up, the assignments are a programming task. You have to work on those individually, and then there's the mandatory interviews after each assignment. Yeah.
Okay, now the question is, how does this look like? What is an assignment? And if I show you this screenshot here, probably many of you know this game. It's Wordle, probably some years ago was it released. And this game is an example what you could implement, and it's not an arbitrary example. You will implement this game through this semester. And now there is some description that states how Wordle works, what should the user can enter to the program, what should be the output, how should the output look like, and then you program this. Then there will be tests, and tests could be that we have a user which enters here those 6 possible words, and now your program should of course always do the right things, should always check if the word was correct, which letters are correct, and so on and so forth. And then at the end you submit it, and then we have this assignment interview where you discuss with the tutor about your solution, and the tutor really checks that you did it on your own or not took just the version that we have printed here.
So the assignment interview should definitely be doable if you did the work on your own. They're less a test and more like a check if you really did code all of your assignment yourself and also understood it and not just copied it.
Now how the points at the assignment, for example, this 4th assignment we said it has in total 40 points. And now 70% of the points are functionality points. So here the important thing is, does your program do the correct things? Does it behave correctly? If a user enters a word in Wordle, does it really find the letters? And does it find the letters on the correct position and so on? So this is just about functionality. And how do we test this? We already mentioned this before. We have test cases. So we just specify in the beginning, okay, the user enters this specific 6 words and your program should behave in exactly that manner. And if this is the case for your program, then you pass the test case. And we will distinguish between public test cases and private test cases, because public test cases will be available for you. You can check what is your program doing correctly and what not. And for the private test cases, you only know is it correct or not, but you do not see your mistake. So you really have to test on your own. And programming is not just about writing a program that works. There it's much more. It's really important that your code is written in a nice way, that you can read the code, that you can understand the code, that you maybe extend it, that you can implement new things to your code. And this is really important, and you need this also for your further career. So we also have 30% for code quality. Yeah, the detailed description is on our course website. It's a bit long, we know, but it's important that you follow those things. And in particular, we have a list of things that are forbidden to use or that you are inquired to use. So please look at those, because we will have large deductions there from 25%, 10% of the points up to 100% of the points. One example is if you write your code in Python, you will not get any points from us, but also many other things here. So you really should follow this, the guide written on the course website regarding the assessment of assignments closely to not lose points, which you could easily get if you just follow it.
Okay, so the assignment interviews, as I already said, they are mandatory, so you have to attend this, and if you don't, then you also won't get any points for the assignments, because we need to check if you really did this assignment. The dates for these assignment interviews will be published after each assignment deadline in the Teach Center, and in this assignment interview you will get asked questions about your code, and then maybe also explain something about your code or extend it with some example we prepared.
So you really need to know your code there, otherwise you're unable to do that.
Yes, so at some assignment interviews you will need to be able to actually extend your submission and code something in C. Okay, so and then with assignment 4, that's the differences we talked about. There is a separate assignment for computer science, ICE and SEM students, and then for all other study programs. These all have the same assignment, and all other study programs have the same assignment. And the difference is just a different focus that we think would be beneficial for you in your further studies and with your study program.
We have some question about the assignment interviews, so maybe go back to the slide before.
Yeah, it's always the slide where the questions are coming.
Yeah. So the first question, very easy, will it be held in English only? No, you can choose whether you do it in German or English. How much time is between the assignment deadline and the interview? Usually it's in the next week, the interview. And are they in person or via live meetings?
They are in person.
They're in person.
They are in person.
Some exceptional reason you are, I don't know, ill for a week, you have, I don't know, COVID and you cannot leave your house, maybe find another solution. But in general, everything is in person here.
But please don't come when you're ill. So please write us an email at coding@2grads.at and we will find a solution for that. But in general, all the assignment interviews are meant to be in person.
And yeah, I see the question. You usually need your own computer then, because you need to extend your code. And
I would highly recommend it. Otherwise, you're writing code on maybe a Windows device from the university where you cannot execute your code. So I would highly recommend to take your own laptop to the assignment interview. You know the environment, you know the code is running and working there. So yeah, it's much better doing this on your own device than on any others.
And there are now many questions about what to use then to program and so on, but we will discuss this next week. So
yeah, so we'll answer all questions you still have next week after the practicals.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, insider tip.
Oh yeah, that's a huge insider tip from, I think, from all of us. I already said it before. Stay up to date and please keep watching our lectures. If not live, if you have, I don't know, another appointment on Thursday, it's okay. You don't have to be there, but I would highly recommend to rewatch all the lectures you are missing. Stay up to date also with the course material. Watch at our course website. I know we are not the only lecture in your semester, but we are probably the most important lecture. Yes, we know everybody would say that, but when we say it, it's just true. So yeah, please practice coding every week. That's another very important thing. We've seen students watching the lecture regularly and think they are good on track they're doing great progress, but they never really started programming on their own. And then the assignment is coming and they finally found out, okay, this is much harder than thought. So we know, and I want really to emphasize it once again, watching somebody writing code is something different than writing your own code. I think we all experienced that.
Yes.
And please, this is very important. Try to practice as much as possible on your own. We will try to give you also a little bit of hints and also like a push in the direction of writing your code on your own. You can, so I think in the practicals you will also provide always your code you're writing. You can maybe work on your own laptop and watching the practicals, and we also have like short coding tasks every week for you to practice.
Mm-hmm. This was a nice introduction to the weekly exercises.
Yes, I know.
So each week, starting from next week, there will be small coding tasks that you can solve, approximately, 2 to 4 exercises per week. And they are related to the practicals and also to the assignments. So there will be coding tasks which are related for assignment 1, for example, and you need to complete at least 50% of these coding tasks. And why do we want to do this? Because we would like to encourage you to practice more, to code more, and to be up to date during the lecture and during the practicals. And it's highly recommended that you do these coding tasks after the lecture, after the practicals, but certainly before starting your assignment, because then you have already some experience in the concepts that we teach, and you, at least we believe, that you will have an easier time doing the assignment. If you fail to complete 50% of the weekly exercises, you get a deduction on the assignment of 25%. So we do not only encourage you to do the exercises, we really enforce you to do some of the exercises. And they always need to be submitted at the deadline of the corresponding assignment. So they're always related to an assignment and they have the same deadline.
Yeah, but please complete them really after the lectures or practicals, or at least in a reasonable time frame, so you still know your stuff from the lectures and the practicals, and you can immediately try it out on your own, and then I think you can really remember it better.
Yeah, this is really in your interest. So we've experienced a lot of students, as Michi already said, just starting with the assignment and then get overwhelmed of huge amount of code to write. But using these weekly exercises, you're writing short code snippets all the time, and practice the concepts, and then we believe that it's easier for you to transfer this knowledge in writing the assignments, and you will have less harder time to writing the assignments then. I saw a question in the chat. Is it rather a straightforward assignment, or is it able to include things you like to include?
So you can't just include anything in your code. You need to write it on your own and you can use the stuff we allow you, but not anything else.
So it's not the case that we say do whatever you want. Yeah, we have predefined test cases with an input and an output, and the output must be the same exactly as we want you to have the output. There will be other courses, I think of operating systems, for example, where you have more freedom to implement whatever you want. But in this case, when learning to program, history tells us that it's easier for us to have a specific input and a specific output, that you learn better how programming works in this case. Any other questions in the chat?
So what exactly you're allowed to use, you can always read on our course website, and I think we'll explain it again when releasing the assignment.
Yeah, sure. So we are today not releasing any assignment and not to releasing a weekly exercise. We will start with the weekly exercises next week, and with the assignment, I think the first assignment is on 24th of October.
The release, yeah.
The release, yeah. So you still have a few weeks time, 3 weeks, until we release the first assignment. And until then, we want you to practice with the weekly exercises, starting with next week.
Yeah, so today will just be a rough overview of all the things you have to do in the practical.
Another comment, are we allowed to have comments in your code? Yes, of course. You should comment your code. On the one hand, it helps you, especially maybe also at the assignment interviews. But yes, of course, writing code comments is an essential part. And when you do not write comments, it's also reflected in our code style section. So we encourage you to write code comments.
Okay. So just to get to the flow chart we had before about how to complete your assignment, we now know there are also these weekly exercises you will need to complete before starting with the assignment, ideally. So we'll just complete the weekly exercises, and then you can start with the assignment. Okay, and just to give you an overview of when you have to do your weekly exercises, I mean, you already told us right now, but maybe having this visualization helps a bit more. So as you can see here, you have 3 weeks of weekly exercises before we hand out assignment 1, and you'll need to complete 50% of these for assignment 1. And then we'll have 2 more weeks of weekly exercises for assignment 2, 1 week for assignment 3, and then 2 weeks again for assignment 4. And again, as with assignment 1, you will always need to at least complete 50% of those weekly exercises, ideally before starting with the assignment, but the deadline is the same as the assignment.
Yeah, and to even visualize this better, so next slide please. So remember, for assignment 1 we had 3 weeks. So assume now in the first week, this is indicated with that box here, we have 3 weekly exercises. In the second week we have 2 more weekly exercises. In the third week we have again 3 more exercises. And now you are the student who passes only the exercise 1, 5 and 7. So in this case this is less than 50%. And if you submit assignment 1, you get a deduction of 25%. So assume you would receive all 12 points on A1 and do not complete enough weekly exercises, you only get 9 points. And if you are another student who did all coding exercises except for number 1 and number 6, then this is more than 50%, or at least 50% and more. So you immediately get all the points of your assignment. So if you again have 12 points on A1, you really get those 12 points on A1. I think this should be clear. Thanks for the nice visualization.
Yes, and now also because we already had this question in the chat, how do you solve this? You won't need to push this to any repository or something. We have this online GDB classroom here, which you will join, and then there you can, in the browser, solve these weekly exercises, test them and submit them. So there won't be any effort setting up anything for those weekly exercises. So we want you to get started as quickly as possible. You will have to sign up in this link with a specific username we already generated for you, and you really need to use this username, or else we can't identify if you really did these weekly exercises. This username will be visible at the sub-page of our course website. And no, I can't open it, nobody's logged in, but on this course website with /home, you will see a page and there will be online GDB, and then I blurred out your username and made a copy button because I really want you to copy that username and use it when you sign up. Please don't type it, just copy it. So you really are safe and you don't make any typos and you won't be able to find you. There's also this online GDB guide we have on our course website.
Yeah, maybe we go to the course website in general. It's on the right most. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
ESP, yeah. And you can show where this guide is, because we created a very comprehensive guide with everything we talked about.
Yeah.
And that's here, yeah.
So we have the guide for the practicals, where you have an overview. We'll talk about this overview later. And then down here you have guide for online GDB. And in here, everything I just said is described in even more detail. So how to log in, how to register for online GDB, what username to use, that you please copy your username, and then how to solve and run and test your weekly exercises and how to submit them.
I have the feeling that copying the username is important.
Yes, please copy and paste your username.
Yeah, okay,
And
now I got it.
one remark to those students, it was only a few, I think 2 or 3, who did this already yesterday or some time ago. Please do it again. So recheck your username on codingtheocrats.at/home, because we changed them yesterday. We needed to adapt this. So please change your username. It is possible that you change your username afterwards. So if you feel that you are meant now, you check this, please.
So if you registered with the wrong username, that's not a problem, because in online GDB you can always change it. Just make sure that when you solve the weekly exercise, you have the correct username, and you also keep that username until the assignment deadline. And sometime after, because we need to check it.
One more remark: if you registered to our course today or yesterday, then probably on this web page here nothing is displayed. We will regularly type in more data here.
I think with the new update it should always work, even if you registered just now.
Okay, then this is...
Or even if you didn't register for the course at all. I think it should always display the correct username you need.
Oh, this is even better. Yeah, okay, so just visit this site.
Okay. So now we know, okay, you have to complete 4 assignments, and there are also these short weekly exercises which you have to complete before starting with your assignment. And we now know what this is. But at the beginning we also talked about coding sessions. So what are those coding sessions?
Yeah, so this is not that complicated as the assignments. A coding session, the following: you just meet as a group of 10-15 students at university, and you will discuss about some topic. And the important thing is, we don't want you to really discuss about implementation of programs. We would like that you think out of the box and you do something which is in a bit in contrast to the C assignments. So it might be even more general topics, that you design something, that you create an algorithm, and so on and so forth. So it's really not that much related to only implementing C code, but really to think out of the box a bit. And this group of 10-15 students will discuss with a moderator, with one of our tutors, in the session about the topic. This is the general idea. Now there are a few things you need to do. So the first thing, of course, is you need to register for a coding session on a Teach Center. We have 3 coding sessions, or 3 blocks of coding sessions, one in October, one in November, and one in December. So you register for one session in October. There are many dates in 3 weeks, so there will be some which fits into your schedule. Then you need to complete a homework. So there is a task that you need to complete before you go to the coding session. We call this now a homework, and this will be available when you register, or as soon as you can register to the coding sessions. You can also download the homework.
Or pre-work.
We call it now homework.
Okay.
We decided this today 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
If you have done this homework, you submit it on the Teach Center before your coding session starts. This is important. If you submit it later, you will not get any points. And then afterwards, you attend the session that you registered for. And we require that you actively participate in the discussions. We don't want you to just sit there and watch everyone else, because this is not beneficial for you. The homework basically prepares you for the coding session. that you already have some knowledge in this specific topic that we'll discuss about, and yeah, then you will discuss about the homework and even more advanced things during the session. It's crucial that you attend the session, otherwise you will not get any points for the homework or the session. But during the session it's not required that you do everything perfectly. It's just important that you discuss and have some ideas, and even if they are not correct, this is no problem. We just want to encourage you to discuss.
We want you to participate actively, and if you don't know something, it's fine for you, it's fine for us, and for everybody else. So most likely you are not the only person in the room who don't know the task. It's most of the time the majority of people who don't know it. So we want you to come there, ask as many things as possible, and leave the room wiser, with more knowledge there before entering the room. But also we of course have all this information again at our course website. I think here in the guide for the practicals,
at the very bottom,
and we have here completing a coding session, where it's again all listed, including an FAQ section about coding section, where we collected all necessary information. And if you have again some questions about the coding session, of course you can ask on Discord every time.
I've just seen one question: how many points for the homework or the coding session? We said at the very beginning there will be 4 points for the coding session. 2 are for the homework, 2 are actually for attending the coding session, but if you do not show up, you will not get any of these points.
And are the coding sessions mandatory? Yes and no. So you don't get the points when you don't attend, but you will be able to pass the course. So when you don't want to attend the coding session, so it's 3 times 4 points, you will only be possible to have 88 points. If that's fine for you, that's okay. It's also fine for us. But if you want to have these points, you need to participate in the coding sessions. All right. Were there any other questions?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, my PC went in standby now during talking, so I can't say whether there's something in the chat.
Also a question: can I attend more than 3 and get more points? So this is not possible. We have 3 different coding session topics actually, and you can only get points for 1 of each blocks. So you can attend block 1, coding session 1, coding session 2, coding session 3. There are no more than these 3 topically related blocks.
And you only can register and attend 1 coding session per block. I found another question, which is in my opinion very important, but not really related to coding sessions. It was, if I have previous C knowledge, is it worth signing up for the exam on the 3rd of October and just give it a shot? I would not recommend it, because you have a very, very limited number of attempts taking the exams. Depending on your study, it's 4 or 5 attempts you have. So it sounds maybe many, but trust me, if you are on the 3rd or on the 4th, it's already you're getting very, very nervous already, because when you are on the last attempt and you do not pass the exam, you cannot continue study. So it's over for you. So I would never anybody recommend to just try an exam. It's always much better to prepare yourself, learn a lot, and then be confident to pass the exam.
Okay. So let's check the overview again. You have to submit for assignments with those weekly exercises, and participate in 3 coding sessions where you have to submit all the homeworks, 1 homework for each coding session.
And these are not really all the tasks that you need to do.
So this is everything you need to do. And we have this task overview. I think you already opened it here. In the guide for the practicals, which really nicely, this shows all the things you have to do and with where you have to submit it.
Maybe increase the size a bit, because I'm not sure whether everyone can see it otherwise in the stream. Yeah.
Okay, so you have these assignments here. You see how many points each assignment is worth. The link for the weekly exercises to online GDP, where you have to submit this. This will come later. Then a scheduler for the assignment interview. So really, there's everything here you need to complete the assignment, and also for the coding session. Here there are the points and where to submit the homework for this coding session and where to schedule this coding session. So where you can book a slot when you want to complete this coding session, because you can choose this. I don't know if we said this.
Same as for the assignment interviews. There will be many possibilities and you will find something that fits your schedule.
Okay, before that, I wanted to warn them, because now it's getting crazy,
You spoiled everyone.
and I wanted to answer on one question in the chat. What do you think about using ChatGPT or similar programs to improve the task? Improve is a nice word in this term, and this is highly related to this section we are talking now.
It's a section we unfortunately have to discuss every year. Plagiarism. The most important thing we must say is, please do not plagiarize. There is no long-term benefit. There is also no short-term benefit of plagiarizing. So every plagiarism leads to an assessment as attempted cheating, which means this is reported to the Dean of Studies, in German der Studiendekan or Studiendekanin, and none of us wants that. So neither you as a student nor us as the course team. So we treat the involvement of ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, and similar programs, tools, the same way as the involvement of another natural person. So this doesn't mean you cannot discuss or exchange ideas and concepts with other students and maybe also with ChatGPT, but please do not just use the output from ChatGPT, for example, and use this in your solution. So we really have a zero tolerance policy regarding this topic, and we just can say, please do not plagiarize.
But we have a few tips for you. Never show your code to other students. Regardless if it's Discord, WhatsApp, Telegram, in every semester we have a few cases from people saying, I just sent my code to a friend of mine or to whatever, posted it on Discord to help others. Maybe the other one will copy it and you will have the same solution. And this is a problem because we don't know who actually wrote it and who copied it. So please never show your code to other ESP students. And if you, so it's okay to discuss. It's also okay, as you say, to discuss with ChatGPT about ideas. But you should not just take 100 lines of code from students or from ChatGPT. If and sometimes it's okay for us that you will have a small section of code which is similar to your colleague, but you have to show it and you have to mark it with a begin section and an end section. But this shouldn't be much. It can be like 20 lines of code, 10 lines of code, and then you have to cite the source. Where do you have it from? Is it from ChatGPT? Is it from a discussion with your colleagues or whatever? But in general, you should not use or you should not copy code or show code to others. This is then to prevent these kind of problems. And unfortunately, I hate it to be honest, but in every semester, in the end, we have to make these plagiarism discussions where we have to invite the students, and then we need to find a solution. And unfortunately, the solution is not only that you have failing the course, but sometimes we also have to give it further to other institutions, and you won't do that because it literally can be in your, or it can destroy your CV, let's say it like this, because every other professor can see it, that you have a plagiarism section there, and you don't want that. So please don't do it, avoid it if possible, never show your code, and then it's much better and you will manage it. Any other comments to that?
So there was a question, should we also cite Stack Overflow? And yes, of course. So if
Yes.
you get ideas or code from Stack Overflow, you have to cite this in your program and then also understand what this code does. So you really need to be able to explain everything that's in your program. And if you have some idea or some code from somewhere else, is it, I don't know, ChatGPT, another student, or the internet, you have to cite it and be able to explain it at the assignment interview.
So in the end of the semester, we have a program that compares every source code of every student against every other. And you can try to trick it, but it's not that easy. You can maybe rename variable names, you can change a bit the structure, but this program will detect it if you have copied it. So I think it was last semester we had a cluster of about 5 or 6 students who have the exact same code, and unfortunately one of the students marked this that it is copied from ChatGPT, so we know all of them had copied it from ChatGPT. The one who copied it from ChatGPT, it was fine because it was only like 15 lines of code, but all the others haven't signed it and marked it as copied from ChatGPT. And this is then a huge problem, because you gave us a solution, you tell us this solution is your solution, and it's not your solution. So you want to trick us, and we don't like that.
So there was also the question, but you can't avoid similarities. Of course, if you implement a specific task, often there are just not really many different ways to implement it. But this is also, we look at each plagiarism case manually, and you'll also have the chance to explain what you did. Yeah. So I think it's really hard to get plagiarism by accident.
I've never experienced a student who said in the end of the plagiarism interview that it's a wrong decision. Everybody acknowledges it and say, yes, I made the mistake, I copied it. So don't worry too much in this regard. If it's written down your own, we will know it and we will find it out, and there is no problem. But if you copy, then you are in troubles.
And if you cite it, you're always fine, except when too much of your code is from somewhere else. So we have some limit here of how much of your code can be cited from somewhere else.
Yeah, we also have it again on our course website. Or is it also in the guide here? I think it's also somewhere here.
Working on an assignment, one below.
One below.
Yeah, and then we have here plagiarism and citations. And here.
And we have again here a section where we discuss that, also ChatGPT and other large language models. And here a solution how you can make it. So in this case, this is a reference for book, or just copy this where you have a begin and an end section, and then just tell me where it is copied from. Or in this case, this was created with my colleague and the idea comes from this discussion.
And if you cite something, there is no penalty. So this is really fine. However, you should, of course, understand what you cited. So if you just cite 10 lines of code and you have no idea what's happening there, then there could be some penalty. You should understand what you write, even if you cite it. And yeah, what I also read in the chat sometime before, if you just read about some topics, if you read the documentation of some function, of some keyword, whatever, this is something which you do not need to cite. You really need to cite if you copy code or if you discuss with another student, then and there might be similarities at the end, then please cite it. But if you just read some documentation, then you don't need to cite this because you really need to learn this and read through that.
Yeah. So everything we teach in the practicals or is in documentations about functions, you don't need to cite this. And also when a tutor helps you, you don't need to cite this. But if you help another student or another student helps you, then please cite the section where you tackled a problem together. So we know that if there are similarities,
So yeah, we know that this is always a very controversial topic, but we have to continue now. We will discuss that from now and then, always a bit about plagiarism, but we have to make it clear now, so that's the case. Okay, so we know there are many questions, of course, obviously now for you also. Maybe this stream has created more questions than answers. This is okay, yeah, you will not get the whole course in 1 day or in 1.5 hours, but what we recommend you to do is read the course website, ask questions on our Discord. We have the Discord just for that, for your questions. Please also check if the questions already exist. Maybe somebody else had the question before. Ask during the question hours or the practicals, if they're in person or in the chat now. I hope we cover most of the questions. I know we cannot cover all of them, but if they are important, please let us know also in Discord. You can attend the personal question hours. We will talk about that, I think, next week. And we also have general question hours before the assignment deadlines, where we can discuss really like one by one about your code. Please do not mail us a lot with general concerns. We especially get a lot of emails now in the beginning, which should be asked on Discord. So please remind that if it's not if it's a general concern and not a personal, please ask on Discord. Yeah. Oh, okay. We also have it now. Okay, I thought it's for next week, but it's also fine. In addition to that, we offer the personal question hours where there is one tutor of us, and you can go there. I think it's on Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the dates are available on Teach Center. You can register there and go there and have one-to-one help from a tutor, so you can really show the code when you have a problem, talk about assignments, talk about lecture content, misunderstandings, and so on. And we have another program to help you. So this section is all about helping you, obviously. We have the buddy program, and the buddy program is also here to help you and to give you another person which can guide you through this journey to ESP. So each buddy, so this is then maybe a student from the last year of ESP. Maybe they are in 3rd or 4th semester already. They already passed ESP in the previous semester, and now they will guide you through the journey of ESP. They have about 20 students, 10 students. It depends how many buddies we get. And then you have like a small group where you can communicate with your buddy, and he's following, or he's advising you wherever you need him. There are no details currently because we had to find a little bit more buddies, but we will give you details next week about how you can register to that program. Yeah, and I think we are already quite in the end. We have the overall schedule here, which is also again linked in the Teach Center, not in the Teach Center, but on the course website here. It's here, the semester schedule, and here you see again, I know it's a lot again, I can try to zoom in, but then it's cut at the end. So here is everything about the lecture we talked about, the practicals we talked about, the coding sessions, the assignments, and the weekly exercises in one Excel table. We will update this if there are any problems or if we have to move a lecture, but this is like the complete schedule for this semester. All right. I think we are at the end for this section now. Were there any questions in the chat?
I think you answered most of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. So we are already 5 minutes over. I would say let's make a short break of about 10 minutes. And then Sebastian and we will start with the first lecture about computational thinking. Very excited about that. It will be fun. So hopefully see you soon in a few minutes. And you are then next time, next Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday, 15:15.
What is planned to do?
So we'll give you an introduction about the tools you will use in the practicals, how to set everything up. Mostly that, and also some introduction to Linux, which we'll use in this course.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Sounds good, yeah.
Then let's take a short break. Let's say we start in 10 minutes at 4:35. Yep. Okay. Then see you then.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.